talking about weaponizing the IRS, our friend Mike Pompeo, who's going to be with us later, by the way, said that Joe Biden wants to weaponize the IRS in order to spy on your bank account. Well, you remember, I was involved in that hearing just about 2 weeks ago, I guess, that we had that hearing on Capitol Hill with House Ways and Means Committee on this issue of, any transactions in your account that equate to $600, the IRS can get information from your bank as to exactly what it was. Now, that sounds totally absurd because it is. This is without a warrant. This is without probable cause. This is with nothing. They could just say, they just start looking at your account. Well, that hearing, which, I said this to our team this morning, evidently got a lot more attention than we thought it did, Logan, I guess, because now they're backpedaling, but their new proposal, frankly, is just as absurd.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people, I was getting text messages and calls last night from my friends who were just confused because how did it go from 600 to now the idea is 10,000? And what does that actually mean? Because it all is caught up in the nuance.
Yeah, and there is no nuance. So here's what it is. Before it was a $600 transaction, that transaction itself could be subject to an IRS review with no probable cause, no warrant, no nothing. Then they said, well, because of the outcry, and we were, remember, in that testimony, I dealt with that, and like I said, it got a lot more attention than we thought it would. And they said, no, now we're going to increase it to $10,000. But then we find out, Andy, it's not $10,000 in a one-time transaction, which is the old, if you put in cash or take out cash of $10,000, there was a report to the IRS. By the way, that $10,000 number was in 1970. The present value calculation of that $10,000 now, if it was keeping up with inflation, would have been a $70,000 payment. But now they're saying, well, it's $10,000, so that's not like every account. But it's cumulative. It's not a one-time payment. It's over the course of a year. So, of course, they can look at anything.
Well, absolutely they can. And this is an invasion of privacy that is unheard of, in my opinion, in the annals of the Internal Revenue Service's already abusive misuse of power. Here you've got an agency which will add 87,000 agents if they're going to do this. That's the number that I heard. And what they will be doing is basically saying this: I have a contract between me and my bank with respect to my bank account. Without any probable cause, without any reasonable suspicion, without anything but the desire to snoop and to see what you're doing, they aggregate the amounts of transactions. And if it comes up with $10,000, they make the bank report it so they can snoop and see and spy on you. Yes, they have no business doing that, in my opinion.
Harry, we know from personal experience representing the conservative groups what happens when the IRS has unchecked power.
Absolutely.
Dangerous, the most dangerous agency.
So they can be unleashed without a warrant, without probable cause, to look at your data. So keep this in mind. The average family of four spends approximately $1,400 a month on food. That is $16,000 a year. That exceeds the $10,000 a year threshold that the IRS would receive under the legislation proposed by the Democrats. This means potentially that Susan Rice, AOC, and Elizabeth Warren would have access to information about your income and your transactions, and this empowers the IRS to have full-blooded control over each and every transaction in your daily life.
Unbelievable. By the way, you think we're taking this by doing nothing? Nope. We're going to find out all about it, and we're going to fight back.